like it. I love a good approach here. Hello, welcome. I am so thrilled and honored to introduce to you the man who has basically redefined creature performance, yeah? Let's put our hands together for a warm welcome to Doug Jones!
So kind of you. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Penny, I know.
Aw, thank you. You're so sweet. He was admiring my Beetlejuice shoes.
Oh, their shoes.
Yeah, listen, we both got the snazzy shoes on. I'm loving it. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us here
Oh,
today.
thank you for having me. My gosh, this
It
is
is
great.
an absolute privilege to be completely clear. Okay. So let's get started. First thing, I want to know, what is the first thing that you do to prepare for a creature role? It's not like a regular acting role, right? So what do you do to prepare?
And yet it does start as a regular acting role, but we've had other things added in.
Yeah.
So as an actor, you want to start with the script, the story. How do I fit into it? What's my character business? As any actor would do with any movie, right? So I want to find out the heart and soul of the character. What are his needs, wants, loves, fears? How does he fit in with the other characters in the story? Blah, 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 all that. That's the starting place. But then there's also, there's some script direction in there on what the creature looks like, acts like, what his intentions are. Then I'm like, okay, that's a little something. Then I want to talk to the director and have a little powwow, like, well, what do you see this character being, idiosyncrasies and quirks and character flaws or character strengths, whatever. I'll get that information, gotcha. I'll have, and I'll look at concept art. This is where the creature then part of it comes in, like, okay, that's what he's gonna look like, okay. And having done enough of them, I'm like, that's gonna be a problem, that's gonna be a problem, that's gonna be a problem, right? So it's like, okay, I see the challenges. So then I'll take myself to a dance studio with a mirrored wall and a big wood floor, with room to spread out and practice and develop the home stance of this character. What does the script call for it? I have to lunge, jump, run, crawl up a wall, what? And I kind of figure all that out in my t-shirt and shorts. Now, then what happens is that concept art gets turned into prosthetic pieces that then start getting made, and I go in for fittings. Now he's being put together on me, and it's okay, this adds more to the story, right? So if I practice something up here, and then the suit lets me do this, then we have to change things up a little bit and find his new, his language, his physical body language. And there is dialogue that happens visually, right? There's so much of it that I want to make sure that he can communicate, you know, whatever visually. So then those practice sessions are key with the makeup pieces going on me, and then can I tell you a little fun? Hellboy 1, when I was doing the first Hellboy movie. I was in for my early Abe Sapien fittings in this process, right? And they had the head and the hands, the webbed finger gloves done. That's all I was putting on that day. So I was shirtless in a pair of shorts, looking kind of hot.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you. I still got it too. Okay. And so all I had on was the head and hands, and I had a big full-length mirror in the back of the creature shop, Spectral Motion, out in LA. And so I'm kind of looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, okay, so from home, I knew that he had a fish DNA in him too, so man, fish, mutant kind of a thing. I had goldfish at home in a tank, and I loved how they swam around and how their fins were so calming, but they had very curious heads, like, right? So I wanted to make Abe Sapien kind of incorporate that kind of language into him. Even though he's very astute, very studied, he reads 3 books at a time, he loves classical music, he's a gentleman, but he's also a fish, right? So I'm in front of the mirror kind of doing this. I wanted him to always be like he was in the water. Like his limbs should always be, you know. So I was doing that, and then I hear a voice way over there say, "That! I like that! Keep that!" It was Guillermo del Toro, the director of the film. Yeah. He came to the creature shop that day without telling me. and was just kind of quietly watching me off to the side. And that's the last we ever discussed Abe Sapien's physicality. Just that, I like it, keep it. So when you have a director like Guillermo del Toro, though, and you develop a shorthand with him, as we've done so many movies together now, that that's all we need. He knows he can say very little to me and I'll get it, and vice versa. So.
Thank you. And in speaking about Guillermo del Toro, that leads me to my next question. Since you have done so many projects with him, what keeps you coming back besides how amazing he is?
I love pain and torture.
Clearly, obvious.
No, when you're working with a genius like him, and he is truly a brilliant artist, genius, unlike anyone I've ever worked with before. He's my favorite director, and every other director knows that. Going in, they're like, I'll be number 2 if I can. So, but he's also like a goofy guy you'd hang out with in college. Yeah. He's the best sense of humor, funny fun. But what you didn't ask that. What did you ask? Sorry.
What keeps you coming back?
Well, because of that, the goofy part, I think. Yeah.
Really?
Plus, when you have a career that's under lots of rubber bits, like mine, it's a rarity to be invited to the Oscars, right? So I've been to the Oscars twice in my life, once for Pan's Labyrinth and once for The Shape of Water, right? These are 2 movies that had monsters in them and had their horror elements, but they also had so much more going on. They were both like perfect movies with many genres pulled in. Romance and history and social issues of the day and all kinds of things happening in those movies, right? So Pan's Labyrinth was nominated for 6 Oscars, and they won 3 of them, including Best Makeup for my artists. Love them. Yeah, they did a beautiful job. Both of the Fawn and the Pale Man. And then The Shape of Water had 13 nominations, which I called before everybody else. Okay, when I was working on Crimson Peak with Guillermo del Toro, I played 2 of his ghost ladies in that. We'll have a long story, but anyway, it was fabulous. But one of my days that I wasn't working, he said, "Dougie, come in." He sent me a message saying he wanted me to come in for lunch. And he was telling me about this next movie he wanted to do after Crimson Peak, which was The Shape of Water. And he told me the whole story, and I was listening to this going, oh my gosh. And he said, "Dougie, you're going to be the romantic leading man of this movie." And just to clarify, you sent him a fish, right? All on the same page. And I told him, well, if anybody can pull this off, it's going to be you, right? And I said, I think this is going to be your next trip to the Oscars. Did I call it? Yes! So, out of those 13 nominations, they had 4 wins, including Best Director for him, and Best Picture. So, Best Picture is called, and all of us get to go up on stage, and I'm standing. Think of this surreal moment, if you will. Okay? You're on the stage, the world is watching, billions of people around the world, and accepting Best Picture with everybody, and a sea of famous faces looking at you going, and it's for a movie with a monster on the cover, right? And I played that monster. That doesn't happen, right? So, thank you. That's what keeps me coming back to Del Toro. Thank you.
Amazing. And I think it's criminal that you don't have an Oscar for any of your performances. And I'm not just
I don't know that the Academy knows how to vote for a guy in rubber.
I don't know. I need to figure that out because it needs to happen. So, as an actor, performing behind prosthetics and makeup and things like that have their own set of unique challenges. What is the most challenging thing about performing in that type of makeup, and how do you overcome it?
Yeah, it would be energy. Simply, the days are long, and my day starts before everybody else's in that kind of a job. So, like, let's take the Hellboy movies for instance. That's the longest makeup I've ever done, was 7 hours a day to become Abe Sapien. 12 prosthetic pieces from head to toe with blended edges and paint on shaved skin. So it's a lot. That's a lot. And so I put in a full day before everybody else gets there. Right now, I have to keep my energy up on camera. That's the toughest part. Is staying in character and keeping your energy up, and so you have to kind of have an athlete's mentality as well as an actor's mentality, so that you can physically push to the finish line and get through the day with everything staying on camera. And then the cleanup process for him was 2 hours more a day. So I stayed later than everybody else, right? So and Hellboy 2 was a 6-month shoot and 6 days a week. So I didn't sleep that year. And but once you see everything on the screen and you're watching this beautiful piece of art that will live forever now, it's like, okay, that's why I made the sacrifice. What's that?
Worth it.
Okay, right, it's worth it. Exactly. Thank you.
So what was the weirdest or most unexpected thing that happened while you were in costume?
Well, okay. Can we talk about going to the bathroom? Because often I can't. Okay. Yeah. Oh, God. Well, the thing is, let's take the Shape of Water Amphibian Man as an example. He was gorgeous from head to toe, and what went into that design was we have to make him dateable. Right? So they spent a lot of time on the ass and the lips, right? Yeah, retooled and reshaped and recolored. So I knew they got the ass right, though, can I say, when we were all sitting on our set chairs, and I got up to walk away at some point, and back here was sitting Octavia Spencer, and all I heard was, So I think they got the ass right. Anywho, so, but what came, the cost of that came, there was no trap door in the back. So I'm in for these, 12-hour filming days with 3 hours of prep time ahead of time, and so you have to make sure everything's taken care of ahead of time. And so, I don't want to explain medical procedures to you, but okay. So anywho, and there was a front flap. That I could pee from, but I was wearing glued on gloved hands with webbed fingers and claws. So difficult to deal with the business, right? So I kind of, at lunchtime they had time to unglue one of them, so I could get myself to the bathroom and maybe eat lunch, right? So with one hand. Oh God. So if I could pee at lunchtime and then at wrap, so I had to temper my intake of water. So I was dehydrated for 3 months on that job. I've been dehydrated on a lot of jobs. That's why I look like I do. But I drank a little too much water one day. But I was in that pool in the laboratory. I peed the pool. But I was the only one in there, I promise. I didn't have to announce it or anything. I just kind of went.
I think that's my favorite story ever.
I can't believe I told that just now. I'll read my book one day.
You heard it here first. Okay, besides Octavia's response,
yes.
What is the most memorable reaction that someone has had to you in full costume? That, someone on set?
Oh, right. It might be when I played the Silver Surfer. Another beautiful beast he was, with a great ass. And again, rubberized muscle suit, and and they restructured my face with a very serious brow bone and a great jawline. It's like, I am hot. Okay. Well, the extras on set thought so too, right? So I got lots of like, hey. I got a lot of that during the day. And then at the end of the night, if anyone was still around when I got out of the suit and out of the makeup, then this shows up. And they're like, oh. Unfortunate for me.
Okay, so what would you say is the most crucial part to making a non-human character feel believable and relatable?
Right. Well, that's back to the actor part of this, right? You have to infuse humanity into a monster, and and Del Toro's a director who understands making that monster on film, because in his movies, the monsters have been more human than some of the humans, right? The true monsters of his films are usually like some guy who's going off the rails and is a narcissist, right? So when you are a monster that has empathy and that an audience can relate to in some way, because here's the thing, I think that we all have a bit of a monster in us. We've all felt out of sorts at some point in our life. We've all felt like the weird one in the room, have we not? Yeah. That's why we're at spooky environment. Okay.
We're the weirdos, mister.
Right, and when we're younger, we don't realize that is a beautiful thing, and we should celebrate it. We know that now that we're adults, and we're here being beautiful and celebrating it, right? But the monster that is within that we fight, and we want to fit in with everybody else, and we don't want to be the oddball out. And when you finally realize that might be where your beauty actually lies, as opposed to being a flaw, that's where I find the humanity in these monsters for sure.
That's amazing. Do you like to watch yourself on screen?
You know what? When I'm in a full rubberized makeup, I can watch it much easier, and I can. But I'm very critical of myself, of course. But I do want to watch it. I'm not one of those actors that I will never see my work. I want to see it so I can learn from it and see what went right, what didn't go as right as I had hoped, and all those things, so I can learn and grow as an actor. Now that I'm 64 years old and looking hot. I asked for that. Thank you. The older I get, the older this process is getting. So I've spent the last year and a half playing nothing but humans. And a lot of them, a wide array of humans. Everything from demon-possessed fellows, or demons who are posing as humans, or aliens who are posing as humans, or serial killers, or a nice guy in a sweater who's being a nice guy. I've done a lot of everything, and which brings up my dream role. Okay, the nice guy in sweater thing. Anyone like Hallmark Christmas movies? I know, right? Or Great American Family, or Netflix. They all have family-friendly Christmas movies now. I want to be the dad of a grown woman who's going through issues of a relationship, and I want to hold a cup of cocoa and wear a sweater with reindeers on it. And give her some really sound advice. And tell her how proud her mother would be if she were still alive. The tropes. Yeah. Right? Yes.
I think that's amazing, and we need to make that happen.
Yeah,
start writing to the Hallmark Channel.
There you go.
Make it happen. So, in your entire body of work, both as a human and as non-human characters, is there a scene that stands out to you as being particularly memorable? And if so, why?
So many memorable moments on film. When I played Billy Butcherson in Hocus Pocus, the script called for me, when I finally cut my mouth open, I had Omri Katz playing Max Dennison. I had him like, we're here, and he was trying to fight me off with a knife. I grabbed the knife from him, and I cut my mouth open and go, and dust and moths come out of my mouth, which was quite a setup. It was actually real-life moths and dirt in my mouth that were in cups and dental dams and all kinds. They had a lot of contraption there to keep the moths dry and to keep me from having to swallow them. And Bette Midler was floating beyond the cemetery gates, yelling at me, "Get him! Get my book out of there!" And so I finally cut my mouth open, and that's where it's revealed that I'm not with her; I'm with the kids. And so I yell at her, right? Well, if you remember that line, in the script, it was supposed to be, "Bitch," and that's it. And I'm thinking, Disney kids film, okay, let's see. So I wanted to rethink this, and so I presented to our director, Kenny Ortega, could I go on more of a tirade and make it a little softer? So I pitched, "Winch, trollop, you buck-toothed, mop-riding firefly from hell!" While Max is here, and I said, I've waited centuries to say that. So I threw all that in. He loved it, and it stayed in the movie, and it's now a quotable piece of the film. So I'm very proud of that moment. So thank you for asking.
That is incredible. I love that story. I'm glad you brought up Billy Butcherson, because that character and that film have become kind of a part of just the spooky season experience. And it's a film that people are passing down to future generations. How does that feel to be part of something that is so iconic and future generations are just going to keep watching it?
I'm all for it, yes. This when I was a kid, that movie was Wizard of Oz. And yeah, Wizard of Oz was on TV, right? It was on TV every year, but it was the best back in the days of network television. You had to watch it when it was on, or you missed it. So we all gathered around, made the popcorn on the stove, and had the Kool-Aid going, and we're ready to watch Wizard of Oz. And so movies now being, so on demand and so clickable and watchable so fast and on a small device if you want, there's so much content out there. But Hocus Pocus became that movie that we still sit down for. We have Hocus Pocus parties. We have like viewing parties. And when Hocus Pocus 2 came out, thank you very much for supporting that, by the way. That was the #1 streaming movie of all time in its first week. Because of you, thank you. And how many parties sprung up just to have a viewing party for that premiere, right? So it's because of that loyalty that we were able to make a part 2, and that's why, because of your loyalty, there's a part 3 in the works. Disney announced it's in development, and how much, or if there's a Billy, if there's an offer, I don't know, but if the offer comes, the answer is yes. Okay. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, that I did not know that. So that's yay. So when you get a script, what is it? Is there anything in particular that draws you to it, that makes you say, yes, I absolutely have to do this, or does it vary from project to project?
It varies, but one theme I want to see, no matter if it's light and fluffy with a happy ending, or if it's a dark movie with horror and blood in it, I like a redemptive ending. I want to see a change in the lead character where they've learned something, they grow, or they conquer something that's huge, right? I think horror films empower us in a way. We watch them and we walk out of the theater going, I can handle anything. I just watched them get through. So yeah, maybe I can handle the demons and monsters in my own life. Okay, yes. So, what, did I hit you? Did I hit?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I got it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I know you mentioned that Guillermo del Toro is your absolute favorite director to work with. Is there a director that you have not worked with that you're dying to?
Yeah. Anyone see the movie in the 80s called Splash? Right? That was Ron Howard I knew as Opie on The Mayberry Show. And then, of course, there's Richie Cunningham on Happy Days, right? So then seeing him as a director, I was like, wait, what? He directed this movie? And so ever since then, and I love Splash. I have a thing for water people anyway, so. And Daryl Hannah was great in that, and Tom Hanks, so that was kind of a breakout for him in movies. So it's like, and so who directed this? Ron Howard. He's the one I want to work with. To this day, I never have and would love to. Yeah.
Yes, Ron Howard for the win. What has been your most memorable fan interaction? But specifically, and I'm sure there's many, but specifically someone who's come to you and talked to you about how a role that you play has been personally meaningful to them.
So many, and thank you for that. When I come to conventions like this, I love them so much because of the interaction I get one-on-one with people. Because when you're filming something that gets sent off to the world, you don't always hear and see the reaction and how it affects people's lives. At a thing like this, I can hear what something I was in played with you in your life at a certain time. I've heard so many lovely stories of, I had a couple standing in front of me with a baby saying, yeah, Shape of Water was our first date. I love being a part of that story, right? Or I'll have like from Star Trek Discovery. Any Trekkies in here? Thank you. A lot of Star Trek people. Star Trek is a franchise that's been around for 58 years, so that's another one that's been passed down from the generations, right? So a lot of parents watching and introducing Star Trek to their kids. And so I hear a lot of Discovery watching stories with my dad or mom who passed away, and every time I watch your show, it reminds me that they're still here with me. And so, are these lovely things to hear? Yes, yes. And or I've dealt with anxiety, and something you were in helped me get through this. I was in the hospital recovering, and something you were in was helping me get through my recovery. That's my favorite part, by far.
That's beautiful. All right, we're gonna toss it to you guys in a couple minutes, so if you have a question for Doug, please start lining up at this microphone right here in the center of the room. And I've got one question for him, and then we're going to toss it to you all. So we talked about favorite director, you talked about your dream role as, dad in a Hallmark feature. Is there an actor that you have yet to work with that you're dying to work with?
That's a great question. If I could do a father-son scene with Anthony Hopkins.
Doesn't matter the project.
It doesn't matter the project. I would die happy, period.
Good answer. I mean, that's perfect. All right, we're going to throw it to you guys. First question.
First off, hi, Billy.
Hello, darling.
Anybody remembers Danny says that to him in the movie?
Yeah.
So my question is a two-parter. First would be, what was your hardest role to research and prepare for and then do? And then what was your favorite role to research and prepare for and do?
Hardest was the Fawn in Pan's Labyrinth, because 5-hour makeup application, very physical and up on stilts, 7 feet tall, lots to work on physically with him. And reams of Spanish dialogue. I don't speak Spanish. I had 2 years of it in high school, but it was all gone by the time, maybe I'm old, right? So, a lot of that was gone. So, translating English to Spanish script and getting, as I learned word for word what I was saying. I did not, Del Toro will say mistakenly that I learned it phonetically, like I heard sounds and I repeated something. No, I knew exactly what I was saying. And I knew Ivana Baccaro's dialogue too, as I would learn our scenes front and backwards, so that I knew what I was doing in Spanish. Hardest thing. So brain and body are all working overtime to make those scenes happen. So that's the hardest thing ever. But I've been really satisfying. Again, when it was over and I'm watching it and I'm sitting at the Oscars and it's winning awards, it's like worth it, right? Yeah. And as far as like favorite, I get the favorite question all the time. It's so hard to answer. Because so much has to go into all of them. A piece of me is in every character I've ever played. But I'm going to give you 2 answers on this, okay? One from television, one from film, okay? The film one is The Shape of Water, Amphibian Man, probably, because, again, hearing Del Toro say, "You're the romantic leading man of this movie," and so he said he did not want a Doug Jones performance. He wanted reality. And so I had to really channel something more believable and actor schmactory, And any time that I forgot that I was an animal, give Del Toro's direction to me, again, shorthand, he would say, "Cut! Dougie! Ha!" Got it. Okay, yeah. And on television, I'm going to say, aside from Saru and Star Trek Discovery, whom I love, and I've spent more time with him than any other character I've ever played before, so I love him and all that, but if you throw some comedy at me, getting to be the Baron and what we do in the shadows. I adore him. And the writers are so good and so funny. When you're reading a script and you laugh out loud while reading it, that's rare. But it happens every episode I read on that show. So more Baron coming this season too, by the way, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just want to say, I remember that when I saw Shape of Water, I saw it with my mom, and as the movie went on, I felt a little uncomfortable watching it. I was like, what am I watching? But I'm happy that you were in that movie, and he finally got an Academy Award for that movie.
Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right,
Hello,
next.
how are you? Thank you for being here. You're amazing. 2 things also. So, it takes so long to do all of the makeups that you are in. And do you have anything that you do, that you listen to keep yourself from going insane while you're having to sit there for 6 or 7 hours?
Great question. No, I really don't have to. And I get this question a lot because most people get antsy if they have to sit still for too long. They want to be doing something. I love doing nothing. Right, so I'm completely built for this. I'm more of an introvert in real life, even though I present very big. But I'm more of an introvert, and so when there's quiet time where it's all their jobs to make me up and I don't have to do jack nothing but sit there, great. I love it.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. That would drive me insane.
Yeah.
And
There you go. That's why you asked. Yeah.
And the second part of the question, for Shape of Water and for Abe Sapien, since you had to be in a tank, how much time did you actually spend in the tanks? And what did you do to prepare for being, I know obviously they have air hoses and such, but for being in the water like that, did you do anything special to prepare yourself for that?
Hellboy and Shape of Water were completely different animals as far as how we filmed it. Hellboy, I was in the water one time out of both movies.
Oh,
All right, and that was in the manhole cover when I came up out of it and back onto the surface of that under. After Samael had been chasing me around and swiped me, and I was injured. I had to get underwater and then come back up out of it to get out of the manhole cover that I dove into. Otherwise, everything was done in dry sets with the water effect added in post-production.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Including harnesses, wires, and me doing this. You know, yeah.
Wow.
The water. Shape of Water was a combo platter. Like I said, there was a pool in the laboratory that I peed in, so that was real water that I dove into and came up out of for weeks. But there was like a glass tank sort of thing that I came up in when I first met Eliza face to face in that movie through the glass, right? It looked like I was in water, wasn't. I was in a dry tank with a smoke effect in there and some rippling lighting effect.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I just moved like I was.
Just a little cheat.
Little cheat. When we flooded the bathroom to have, that was the bathroom set was rebuilt in a tank that was 8 feet tall, and they filled it with actual water. So that's the one where in 8 feet of water that they took all the precautions, and I was a little nervous. I've never been in a full rubberized head to toe underwater in my life.
Because it's heavy.
I thought I was gonna die, yeah. But we went through, Sally Hawkins and I both had to go through scuba training ahead of time. So we took some time during our dance rehearsals to go off and learn how to, we just had to learn how to breathe on a respirator. So they were standing by, hiding in the set off to the sides in case anything went wrong. But 8 feet, I'm 6'3", all I had to do was go boop, and I was at the top. So we never had to use them, thank heaven. But otherwise, but the final scene of The Shape of Water, we're embracing underwater, kicking our legs gently as this poetry is being read. Beautiful scene, beautiful moment. Dry studio with smoke in it, rippling lighting effect, and then some CG in post-production to make her hair do this, to make her coat do that, right? And we were both in harnesses on wires that were going slightly up and down. The guy's going. Yeah, so but you bought it, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you for your question. Next.
Thank you for being here. I really enjoyed Pan's Labyrinth, and I actually got my daughter's middle name, Ophelia, from the movie.
Do you spell it the same way with an F?
I really wanted to, and I should have because we are Spaniard, but I did go with the English spelling. I know. My question really was Pan's Labyrinth based. Between the fawn and the pale man, which character did you prefer the most?
Oh, right. Well, I spent more time and energy creating the fawn, honestly, because of that process I told you about before. He was so much for me, mentally, physically, all of it. The Pale Man was like, well, at first, when Del Toro sent me the script and offered this movie to me in the first place, he said, and I want you to have a look at the Pale Man, too. You'll see it when it's in there. I'm reading the script going, okay, eyeballs in his hand, that's weird. Okay, and then he eats children, who cares, yeah. So, and it was one scene, and then I'd go back to being the fawn again. So my focus was all on the fawn, and we're filming, and then we spent a week doing the Pale Man scene. And when that week came, it's like, right, here we are. I got to change gears. Okay. So I was in the middle of it, and he was very difficult to wear. The Pale Man was glued onto me. It was a 6-hour application. And of course, I didn't have eyes in my face. Del Toro puts eyes everywhere else but here. So if I had 2 big nostrils I'd look through, one eye that way and one eye through that nostril that way. It was a beautiful set. Oh my gosh, beautiful set. I'm like, wow, he lives in it's just kind of glorious, but kind of all hideous at the same time. A pile of kids' shoes that have been my victims in the past, and here I'm chasing this sweet little girl because she ate a grape. Right, of all the punishments, really? You die now. So, yes, he was a lot to develop, and Del Toro was very specific. When I lifted my hands up to my, after putting the eyeballs in after waking up, then this goes up to here, and he was very specific. He wanted the splay of the fingers to happen slowly, right? So I started to kind of do one of these. He said, no. I watched, I'm like, man, that worked, okay. and then when the movie came out, I had, I thought like he was, a side character, but the Pale Man is the one who ended up on magazine covers, memes, YouTube tributes, talk show jokes. I mean, seriously, the Pale Man was everywhere. It still is to this day. So, they were both. I love them both for different reasons, like my usual answer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, next.
Hi, Doug. It's Marnie.
Oh, hi. Nadja.
Bad. So I did this question with Saniqua because you had suggested I do it. There was a scene, an intense scene with Michael Burnham and Saru on set.
Yes.
You know the one I'm talking about?
I do.
I figured it would make everybody laugh.
It's a funny little story.
It
Okay. Star Trek Discovery, our lead actress, Saniqua Martin Green, who played Michael Burnham, the character who grew to be captain. She and I are doing a quiet scene. This is season 4, I believe. Her love interest in the story was a character named Book. He sent her a hologram message saying, don't tell anybody, but I'm leaving and I'm going off on a mission that's not been sanctioned by Starfleet, and I'm going to get revenge on blah, blah, blah. Something. Okay, so that's your basic. Marnie, your ring just fell off. Oh my gosh. Yes,
Sorry.
this little lady made this ring, and it's beautiful. So I'm in the scene. So Michael Burnham has asked Saru to come to her quarters to watch this hologram message, and so we can analyze what to do next with him. So we're standing there watching this thing, and then it goes bloop, and goes away, and then we have a quiet discussion with each other. And she's really short and really tall, and why would he do this? And I don't know. Has he done? Is this? Where do you think his next step will be? You know better. Well, he could be going to. Maybe no one noticed. So I keep talking, and Sneak was looking at me going, she noticed. So I said, that was me. So the entire crew busts up laughing. They kept the cameras rolling, and so it was on the original blooper reel. And then somehow when the DVD came out, it's not on the blooper reel anymore. I know, I would have loved for it to stay, because who doesn't love a good fart? Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Hey, is there any sort of creature that you haven't been able to play yet that you would like to see on screen?
I get asked this a lot too. Now, had you asked me this a few years ago, I could say I've always wanted to play a vampire. Now, I've played quite a few. But the classics were what called to me the most. But I've always thought, Dracula. He's kind of sensual and sexy. Okay, no. Then there's those sparkly teenager ones. I can't play that either, right? Maybe no one should. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying. Bless their hearts. But the one that was like, okay, I understand this faded, ugly fella Nosferatu, right? Yes. So now, as I sit here today, I have played him in a remake called Nosferatu, a symphony of horror that is just now out on Amazon Prime and Apple TV, and Fandango and Roku, and it'll be on Tubi soon too. So, yes. So crawling into the role that Matt Schreck created on film back in 1922 was an absolute honor for me. And what we did, now there's another Nosferatu coming, you've seen advertised with Bill Skarsgård in the same role, directed by Robert Eggers, coming in December to theaters. Bigger production, more money, more marketing. Okay. Ours is a quiet little indie that kind of snuck in onto the streamers quietly, and but ours, if you go looking, if you do a search bar of Nosferatu Doug Jones, you'll probably find it. Okay, and ours is a scene-for-scene replication of the first silent film, but with talking, dialogue, and sound, right, and the musical score and new actors. But we were combined with the old movie, so there was a green screen element to every scene in our film. And that green screen was filled in with a plate shot created off the original movie digitally. So right? So it's all in black and white to match the original film, and it's a total homage and nod and bow to that original movie. And so I love playing Nosferatu, and I love striking those iconic poses that you know Max Schreck doing. Everything from up the stairs to his death scene with at the window. I had to find my way into all those iconic poses. Oh, and the standing up straight as a board from the coffin. Yes, I did that as well. So we wanted to get all those moments in there that would honor Max Schreck, but I also had to find a Doug Jones way to get there. So it's a combo of new and old that I hope you like. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one more question. I'm so sorry. Last question.
Hi. I wanted to say really quickly, Billy was my first crush.
Surprised how many times I hear that, though, honestly, yeah.
It started the problem. But you have a pretty, like, diverse
Resume?
spread, yeah, of like genres and things. But when it comes to horror, do you really like getting the scares out of people? Like, do you love to see like the reactions of like absolute horror from people like?
Well, I like reaction in general, honestly.
Yeah.
So that means if a character evokes tears from you, love it. If it evokes laughs from you, love it. If it evokes from you, I love that too. So when I hear people going, the pale man creeped me out, good. Or the gentleman from Buffy, yes, good. He creeped me out too. When I watched it back, I'm like, yeah, seats, right? So yeah, no, I love that.
But did you like maybe more like, was it? I'm sorry, I'm blanking because I'm so starstruck.
Oh, bless you, child.
Was it a preference of yours to do like more horror over anything else?
Just more opportunity there, really. As an actor, I like it all. I really do. And if there's a story that I want to help tell, I will invest myself into that story, no matter what genre it's in. But because I'm known for rubber bits, those are the offers I tend to get more of in horror films and darker things, or science fiction that leans that way into the fantastical, you know. So I've learned to love it more because I bought my house with it.
Well, it has been an absolute delight. Thank you so much for joining us this weekend. As I'm sure they can all attest, you have been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. Please give it up for Doug Jones! Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of the weekend. We will be here very shortly with Alicia Witt. See you soon.